Hi everyone. In this video, I conduct a market sizing interview with Jeffrey, who is preparing for MBB interviews. Jeffrey did a super good job answering my question and passed the interview. So you will see what a market sizing interview at McKinsey, BCG, Bain, or any other top consulting firm looks like and what a great answer is. If you want to ace the market sizing questions, check out my website careerandconsulting.com. With that, let's jump to Jeffrey's interview. Okay, let's go. So that's my question. Can you estimate the Apple Store revenue?
Okay, interesting question. I first have a few clarifying questions, if that's okay, before I dive into my structure and actually try to estimate the revenue.
Sure.
So estimate the Apple Store revenue. Are we looking at a yearly revenue here, or?
Yeah, we are looking at the yearly revenue in $1 million.
In $1 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I have another question. Where is it located, this Apple Store?
In the US.
And where exactly in the US? Like in a big city? Is it in New York or?
We are looking at the online, the Apple online store. Okay.
Online.
Yeah, actually, on the online store and the revenue coming from people buying apps.
Okay.
So
the
to
apps.
answer your question about the geography, we want the revenue coming from the US customers.
Okay. Okay, so we're looking at the US customers on the online apps. I'm not sure exactly how the revenue model works. They license apps, I think, and then get part of the percentage of that.
Yeah, let's keep the model revenue like simple. So basically, you get a revenue. We have free apps, paid apps, and you get a revenue from the paid apps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have some nuances, but let's put these nuances aside for now. So let's consider like a very basic revenue. Okay. People are buying apps and you get a revenue from that.
Okay, and then we're looking at the total paid app revenue.
Yeah.
Not just the share that Apple gets, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I think with that I have a pretty good picture of the App Store and like what we're looking for. Could I take a minute now to come up with a structure, maybe?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think I have a basic structure. So I haven't filled in the numbers yet, but I just wanted to walk you through my structure and see if that's okay or if we should make any adjustments.
Yeah.
So I have for the total online revenue for the App Store in the US, I have the total number of paid apps times the price per app. So the number of paid apps, I think there we should really deep dive a little bit more. So we have the number of paid apps is the number of total number of apps in the US times the percentage of them that's paid. And then to deep dive more in the total number of apps, I had the total number of Apple devices times the number of downloaded apps per device. And then for the total number of Apple devices, I looked into the population of the US. Then I looked into the number of Apple products. So the percentage of Apple products that people in the US have. And then I times that times the number of Apple products per user. So that is my initial structure. I would.
Sorry, I didn't get the last one. So the number of Apple devices you're using the population?
Yeah, it's the population in the US, and then I had the penetration rate of Apple. So how many people in the US have an Apple device, and then that times the number of Apple devices per Apple user. So if you have a Mac, you might also have an iPhone, for example.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next, if that structure seems okay to you, or maybe we're missing something.
No, it's fine. Let's move forward.
Okay, so let's try to fill in some numbers then. So the population of the US is around 300 million.
Yeah.
So then we have the percentage of Apple products, or the penetration rate of Apple in the US. I'm not sure if we have any data on this, otherwise I would make an assumption.
Make an assumption here.
I think they about maybe 30% of the market could be Apple products, and or like the number of population in the US, like 1 in 3 people would have at least one Apple product, whether that's a phone or a Mac. And then the number of Apple products per user, I would put on average between a Mac, an iPhone, iPads. I would put it on around 2. If you have one product, you likely have another one as well. So I would call that 2. So based on that, we could calculate the number of Apple devices. But let's first make the other assumptions as well. So the number of downloaded apps per device. So how many apps are on a device? I could probably try to estimate that from my own experience. I think I have around maybe around 100 of them on there. When I think about my iPhone and my Mac, well, my iPhone, my Mac, yeah, my Mac might be slightly less. I would call it around 100 now, but maybe we have data on it.
No, just take your own assumption.
Okay. Then the percentage of the apps that is paid, I know that's a hard one to estimate actually, because I think it's a rather small number. For me, it might be maybe 2%, maybe between 2 and 5%. I think I'm like probably on the lower side as a student. I know my dad has way more paid apps, but 5% would be on the high side. 2% would be on the low side. I call it 5% for now, and we can maybe revisit it later. And then the price per paid app, I don't think it costs that much, but maybe an average of around €2 would be reasonable. $2.
No, you can take let's take $5.
$5?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I've made all my assumptions, and then I can quickly try to go through and actually calculate the revenues. So we have 300 million of the population of the US. So it's 300 times 30% Apple products penetration and 2 devices per user. So that is 300 times 30% would be 90, times 2 is 180 million Apple devices, is what we're saying in the US. With the downloaded apps of around 100. So that would give us 180. So that is 18 billion total apps, of which around 5% are paid. 10% would be 1.8, so 5% would be 0.9 billion number of paid apps, and then a price per app of 5. So the 0.9 billion times a price per app of 5 would give us 4.5 billion in revenue in the US from the App Store. When I look at the number, I would think that that is definitely on the high side. I don't think that the I'm not sure what the total revenues of Apple are in just the US. The 4.5 billion sounds like a big number. I'm trying to find like a good benchmark maybe to compare it with. I believe their worldwide revenues might be around 300 billion. So this would be a bit more than 1% of that. In that context, it does sound more reasonable, but I'm not sure if that is a good, powerful benchmark. But there you have it. I would say 4.5 billion.
Okay, great. Let's start this way. Okay, so you know what my first question is. What do you think of your performance?
Maybe one thing I should mention there is before I would have given my answer, I might have gone a little bit more into depth of where I think the answer could really differ. For example, the percentage of paid apps, like that is it could be 5%, it could be 2%, maybe it could even be 10%. I think that's like where a lot of variation is. So kind of pointing maybe where some variation might be. That would be a definite point of improvement. And like finding a good benchmark is, I think, is quite good as well, because I didn't really have anything good to compare it with. Other than that, maybe you would say that I should move a bit quicker with the assumptions instead of that's what I think.
I think quicker. No, I think it was really okay. I was okay with the speed of making assumptions. No, overall it was super good. I think it was a very good case. You had a very strong performance. Definitely, I would let you go to the next round. Even at the end, again, the answer is not that important. 5 billion. You found that numbers big. I think it's small because I think you said the Apple total revenues are like 300 billion or something like this. And I know that revenues from the App Store is like very, very important. They are making a lot of money with selling apps. But anyway, it was a good benchmark. I really like how you check you estimate at the end. Your structure was super good. Clarifying question was super good. The only thing you could have improved for me is when you made assumptions, you used a lot this okay, based on my experience, I have 100 apps, something like this. I would have and that's okay, but it would have been better to have a kind of a business discussion around that, a business discussion that can explain these numbers, these assumptions. You can say, for instance, for the number of apps, it's probably a lot, because on the App Store you can find an app for anything. Okay, you want to do sport, you have like 100 types of apps. You want to I don't know the categories: game, productivity, health. You have so many categories and so many apps per category that is probably a huge number. So 100, I agree with you, is probably good. When you are saying, okay, 30% of the US population has an Apple device, I think I totally agree with that number. Again, it would have been good, to have a business discussion, like, okay, talking about the brand of Apple, which is pretty strong, something like this. So it's, it just, in a market sizing question, one of the best way to differentiate yourself from other candidates is to take a higher perspective and have a business discussion, and not just doing an estimate exercise, interview exercise, but showing more to your interviewer. And a good way to do so is to have a good business discussions, and to do so. And for that, you have two opportunities. The first one, when you are making assumptions, and the second one is at the end, when you are doing a reality check of your final estimate. So that's really the two moments where you can really differentiate yourself from other candidates by having a good business discussion, okay, showing your business acumen. No, that was super good. Again, very, very quick. That's exactly what they want to expect. It's mainly, partners love market sizing.
Yeah.
And they want something like an answer in 5-10 minutes, something like super easy. And that's why I'm saying the best part from them is a business discussion. Okay, because that's what they want to have with great candidates.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Keep that in mind.